Hey guys, it's Danny. Today I have the pleasure to present to you one of my absolute favorite orchids. It is currently up there with the Nelly Eiler and the Francis Fox. And if you know me, you know that means something. The Brassocattleya, or BC Saint Andre, has managed to surprise me on three major points of view, which I shall address first and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. So first point of view, color. Let's do a little magic and bring the color back. Ta-da! This is such a wonderful contrast between a really nice green, quite intense green I might add, on the petals and sepals, and an absolute wonderful pink. It's not even magenta, it's a very sweet pink on the lip. Now the Saint Andre is a cross between two pretty much statement orchids. First, it's the Brassavola nodosa, the famous queen of the night, and the second one is Cattleya dowiana, which sadly I do not own, but it is one of the most coveted orchid species there is. It's also very expensive. The way the two parents share their genetics to give life to the Saint Andre is pretty interesting. So first of all, we have the sepals and petals. As you can see, they are pretty rich green, I might add. It's not a washed out green. That is a trait of both the nodosa and the dowiana, although the dowiana seems to have a more intense yellowish green to her petals. So there is definitely some influence from the dowiana, not only the nodosa. Then there is the lip, which is very interesting. As you can see, I have all sorts of spots on the lip. And if you know Brassavolas, you know they are mainly completely white on their lip. Well, the dots you see on the Saint Andre are actually transmitted by the nodosa, and this one tends to pass on this gene to many of her hybrids. Although you don't see it on Brassavolas generally, the spotting is a recessive gene that Brassavolas have, and luckily it becomes a dominant in the hybrids. Now the color of the lip, here I'm not entirely sure. The dowiana has some sort of purple on the lip, but it's not this pink. It's more of a burgundy, reddish type of purple. Some Brassavolas do have some purple in their genes, yet again very strange. So at least regarding the color of the lip, I cannot say for sure. I think the parent responsible for the color is mainly the dowiana, but I think the Brassavola had something to say about the color as well. Also, the dowiana has a nice veining on the throat of the lip, which it has passed on to the Saint Andre as well. We can see a little bit of yellow and a little bit of veining there along with the spottings. And the way the colors are distributed, yet again, it fascinates me. We have a stronger color on the edge of the lip, and inside it tends to go to a softer pink. We have those veins going on and also the yellow. It is absolutely superb. Now I have to say, I was a little bit nervous about the color. When I purchased this orchid, there weren't as many pictures available as there are now. And by the way, I purchased it last year. It would seem that there is quite a bit of variety with this hybrid. It only depends how it was obtained. If it was a clone of something, chances are the colors looked like this. This is the very first picture that I ever saw of this orchid. In the past few months, I've seen pictures with quite the disturbing variation, I have to say. It's just a preference. I have seen this orchid not having this gradient on her lip, but having a sort of spotted pattern on a more white background. I have also seen it with color disruptions, and worst of all, at a nursery in Europe, I've seen it with a lip which completely lacks this color. It is absolutely washed out. So I was really nervous. But lucky for me, I actually obtained the color that I wanted. So I'm thinking this is a clone of an awarded Saint Andre, or at least a clone of a clone or something. If you propagate this orchid through seeds, you can get a lot of variations, and you can Google the name so you see what I mean. Now, even though this orchid doesn't have a whole rainbow of colors, in person this lip is like nothing I've ever seen. The color distribution, the pattern, the spotting, the little yellow on the throat, it's just breathtaking, you guys. But I have to say, if you want to purchase this orchid, you might want to purchase a clone, or if you see it in bloom, make sure that you like the pattern that it has, because as you can see, even orchid nurseries have variations on this particular orchid. And as a side note, I purchased it from eBay from my favorite seller, Cattleya 2, last year in summertime. Alrighty, so this was the first point of view. The second point of view, and you might have noticed I'm not putting my hand close to it, is the size of the flower. In pictures, you cannot tell how big the flowers are. And even in my video, I tried not to give too many indications, but the flower is huge. Let's see. This is how huge the flower is. Now, given I do have pretty tiny hands. So let's make some comparisons with other orchids that I have in bloom right now. And here she is next to my two Pacharas, and these are the Vandas with the biggest flowers that I have. The flower is bigger than a Vanda flower. And here she is next to a standard-sized Phalaenopsis orchid. It's definitely bigger than this. And just for fun, here she is next to the mini mark flowers. And pretty much the flower is just as big or even a little bigger than my orchid seedlings, the dendrobiums. So leaving aside the dramatic comparisons, let's measure this flower. She is almost 16 centimeters in diameter, and here about 14. It is an absolutely huge flower. I dare say it has a bigger flower than my Cattleya mosiae, which had the biggest flower in my entire orchid collection. Well, now we have a new queen. It's so weird because in pictures you cannot really tell. And when the bud starts to develop, it starts out like a really tiny little thing, and then as it grows, it extends even more. And just before it starts to crack open, it's about this size. So pretty much you are expecting a Brassavola nodosa size, but it's much bigger than that. Now, this trait comes definitely from the dowiana, from the Cattleya. Brassavolas generally don't have big flowers, with the exception of the cucullata and her hybrids, which have very long petals. But even in comparison to that one, the whole structures are bigger on the Saint Andre. Now, since I don't have the dowiana, I can only imagine how big the flower of that orchid is. Shape-wise, it looks more like the Brassavola nodosa than the dowiana. That Cattleya looks like a typical floofy type of Cattleya. It's beautiful, but the Brassavola gave this hybrid the slenderness of the petals and sepals and also the shape of the lip. Compared to Brassavola nodosa, the Saint Andre has a broader lip because of the dowiana influence, but shape-wise it is closer to the Brassavola. And lastly, the third reason why I really like this orchid, and I was surprised, is the fragrance. Now, the fragrance is Brassavola nodosa. I've discovered that direct hybrids or primary hybrids of the nodosa tend to obtain that fragrance. It is just such a powerful gene that chances are whatever hybrid you will obtain with a Brassavola will have the Brassavola fragrance. It is fine by me, but the dowiana is supposed to have a wonderful fragrance as well. However, this hybrid didn't really inherit anything from the dowiana. I only feel Brassavola smell from this one. Now, reading up about this orchid, some sources suggested it was fragrance, while other people said it was absolutely not. So yet again, I was a little bit nervous. But when it comes to Brassavola hybrids, yet again, chances are that the fragrance will be released during nighttime, not daytime. So as expected, this orchid releases fragrance during nighttime, actually late evening. When I came in the greenhouse early morning, I could still feel her fragrance. It was filling up my greenhouse, and if I smell it right now, I still feel a little bit of a fragrance. But usually in the daytime, this orchid isn't fragrant. So if you ever wondered if this orchid is fragrant, there you go. It is very fragrant. It is quite powerful, but you need to smell this orchid in the nighttime. And there we go. I think these are enough reasons to make this orchid a new favorite, a new queen in my orchid collection. But there are a few other details that make this orchid quite the queen. It is easy to care for. If you can care for any type of Cattleya or Brassavola, definitely this will do great for you as well. I don't give it any type of special treatment. I treat it just like a Cattleya or a Brassavola. I give it bright light. I don't keep it soggy wet. I don't give extra humidity. I fertilize it along with my other orchids, and things are going pretty well. Another good thing with this orchid is that she is a super fast grower. Last year, ever since I purchased it actually, she produced 3 full canes and 1 matured in my care. It came with a growing growth, if I'm not mistaken. The bud develops really fast on it. It starts to show when the pseudobulb is not mature just yet, and as you can see, the pseudobulb is still immature. And this orchid is in bloom. She's a super fast grower and has the possibility to become a specimen in no time. So if you're looking for that type of orchid, this is your girl. In case of root loss, I didn't have any issues. This orchid creates roots readily. There's not enough good words about this orchid, really. So yet again, if you have a budget and you don't know what statement orchid you should get, and you do like Brassavolas or Cattleyas, I would absolutely go for this one. Just like how I would go for the Francis Fox, but not the Nellie Eiler. Nellie Eiler is just too finicky at this point for us. I still love it, of course, but this is a very beautiful primary hybrid and quite special orchid for beginners. It will definitely be included in my special orchids for beginners if you want to take the next step from Phalaenopsis. Believe it or not, you can do it with this one. There are only a few differences that you need to keep in mind, but it is very forgiving, it grows fast, it bounces back, and just look at this flower. And actually, my display only has one flower, which is pretty normal, but I've also seen displays with 2 flowers. So imagine when this orchid creates multiple growth directions, has 2 flowers per pseudobulb, it's just gonna be a wonder. And there we have it. This is the beautiful BC Saint Andre. Lately, I've seen it available in quite a few places, including eBay, including orchid nurseries. My only concern is the variety you're gonna get. So I would try to be careful with that. If you want this exact variety, make sure it's a clone. If you don't mind the other varieties of the Saint Andre, then everything is fine. It's not very expensive. It has a typical Cattleya price, maybe a special Cattleya. I purchased it with about 20 euros. So it's not a whole lot of money, but it's not a very cheap orchid either. So alrighty guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. I really hope this orchid gets on your wish list. I think I'm on a mission to Cattleyinate the nation. I got so many Cattleya types, but they're all so wonderful that Cattleyas are starting to become my absolute favorite family, along with Oncidiums. So, you know the drill, rate this video down below, subscribe to my channel for regular orchid and plants videos, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. And with that said, I'll see you all next time. Bye!